What if everything you've been told about healthy eating was incomplete? What if some of the most powerful healing foods on earth were not created in modern labs, but were known, valued, and eaten thousands of years ago? While the world chases diet trends, counts calories, and spends fortunes on supplements, ancient scripture was already pointing to foods that modern science is now studying for inflammation, immunity, heart health, and cellular repair. This is not just symbolism, this is not just tradition, and this is not just faith. We're talking about real foods, backed by growing scientific interest, clinical research, and discoveries that continue to surprise doctors, nutritionists, and health experts around the world. Today, I'm going to show you 7 biblical superfoods that have stood the test of time. Foods once treasured in the ancient world, and now recognized for their extraordinary nutritional power. But I need to warn you, some of the foods on this list may completely change the way you think about healing. Number 6 was so rare and so valuable in biblical times that kings treated it like treasure. Today, experts say it may be one of the most nutrient-dense foods ever examined, and yet, most people have never even heard of it. And number 7, this one stopped me in my tracks. Ancient scripture called it a gift from God, and modern researchers are still trying to understand the full power hidden inside it. So, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may never look at food, health, or even your grocery store the same way again. Before we dive in, if you want ancient wisdom, backed by cutting-edge modern science, delivered straight to you every single week, hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell, because what we're covering today is just the beginning, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's get into it. For thousands of years, people lived, healed, fought wars, crossed deserts, and built civilizations, without pharmacies, without supplements, and without nutritional labels. They had something else. They had food, as medicine. And they carried a level of wisdom about that food that modern science is only now beginning to fully understand and verify. The Bible is not just a spiritual text. Embedded within its pages is one of the most detailed ancient records of medicinal nutrition ever written. And when you line up what scripture says about these foods with what modern biochemistry has now discovered, the alignment is extraordinary. Here are 7 biblical superfoods, ranked from extraordinary to absolutely life-changing. Let's go. 1. Olive oil, the liquid gold of the ancient world. Let's start at the beginning, not just because olive oil is number 1 on this list, but because in the ancient world, olive oil was the beginning. It was food, fuel, medicine, and sacred substance, all at once. The Bible references it more than 140 times. Kings were anointed with it, wounds were dressed with it, and in Luke 10, the Good Samaritan poured oil and wine into a stranger's wounds. That was not random, that was medicine. Now listen to what modern science says. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most rigorously studied foods on earth. The Mediterranean diet, built on olive oil as its cornerstone, has been linked in hundreds of studies to lower rates of heart disease, cancer, inflammation, cognitive decline, and even all-cause mortality. And the key compound? Oleocanthal, a powerful polyphenol that appears to work in a way strikingly similar to ibuprofen when it comes to reducing inflammation. Except this was not a pill taken once in a while. This was something they poured over everything, every single day. And ancient olive oil was not the refined, heat-processed product many people buy today. Cold-pressed, unfiltered, freshly harvested olive oil was a living food, rich in antioxidants, loaded with vitamin E, and filled with healthy monounsaturated fats the body can recognize and use immediately. Just 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil a day. used generously in food, or even applied topically for skin support and wound care, carried remarkable value. The people of the Bible did not rely on supplements. They poured this over everything, and modern science suggests they were right to do it. 2. Raw honey. Heaven's antimicrobial, eat honey, for it is good. Honey and milk are under your tongue. Again and again, the Bible presents honey as a food of strength, clarity, and life. Jonathan dipped his rod in honey, and his eyes brightened. That image is powerful, because even in ancient times, people understood that honey did more than simply taste good. It restored, it strengthened, it healed, and modern science has only deepened that picture. Raw honey is one of the most powerful natural antimicrobials ever studied. Clinical research has shown that it can fight dangerous bacteria, including antibiotic-resistant strains like MRSA. Why? Because honey works on multiple levels at once. It produces hydrogen peroxide when it comes into contact with tissue. Its naturally low pH creates an environment where pathogens struggle to survive, and it contains a protein called defensin-1, which actively helps destroy bacteria. This is no longer just ancient folk wisdom. Manuka honey is now used in certified wound dressings in hospitals around the world. That is not alternative medicine. That is modern clinical practice. But there is one word you cannot miss here. Raw. Because the moment honey is heavily processed or heated too far, many of the enzymes and beneficial compounds that make it medicinal begin to break down. That clear, shelf-stable, bear-shaped bottle at the grocery store? That is not medicine. That is sweet syrup, real raw honey. Used the right way, is something else entirely. Applied to wounds to help prevent infection and support healing. Taken by the spoonful at the first sign of a sore throat, mixed with warm water and lemon, to soothe, support, and strengthen the body. And here is one more detail that seems almost unbelievable. Archaeologists have discovered honey in ancient Egyptian tombs, more than 3,000 years old, still preserved, still intact, still astonishing. Honey does not seem to fade the way other foods do, and neither, it seems, does its reputation as one of nature's most enduring healers. 3. Garlic, the food. The Israelites mourned. This is one of the most emotionally charged food references in all of Scripture. When the Israelites wandered through the wilderness, living on manna alone, they broke down and wept, and one of the specific foods they mourned by name was garlic. Think about that. They missed it so much, it made them cry in the desert. And when you understand what garlic actually does, their grief begins to make remarkable sense. Garlic is one of the most thoroughly studied foods in all of nutritional medicine. Its most powerful compound? Allicin, a sulfur-rich compound released when garlic is crushed or chopped. And allicin is no small thing. It has been studied for broad-spectrum effects against bacteria, viruses, fungi, and even parasites. Clinical trials have shown that regular garlic consumption may help reduce the frequency and severity of colds and flu. Multiple studies suggest it can help lower blood pressure, reduce LDL cholesterol, and decrease platelet aggregation. It has also shown liver protective effects, which helps explain why ancient civilizations valued it so deeply. In fact, Egyptian medical papyri, some of the oldest medical documents on Earth, list garlic in more than 20 medicinal preparations. That is not coincidence. That is history meeting biochemistry. And if you want garlic at its most potent, raw and freshly crushed is where its power peaks, because allicin is volatile. Heat breaks it down. So raw garlic in dressings or preserved preparations delivers maximum intensity. Cooked into soups and stews, it becomes gentler, warmer, and still deeply beneficial. It has been infused in oil. And in traditional medicine, It was even used topically for things like ear support. The Israelites knew what they had when they had it. Now, you do too. 4. Pomegranates, the antioxidant king. There were 200 carved pomegranates on the pillars of Solomon's temple. That was not random decoration. In the ancient world, you did not carve something 200 times into one of your most sacred places, unless it carried deep meaning. And pomegranates did. They were symbols of life, abundance, beauty, and blessing. But they were also far more than symbols, because hidden inside this fruit is a level of biological power that modern science is still working to fully understand. Pomegranates contain a compound called punicalagin, found almost nowhere else in nature. And when it breaks down in the gut, it forms compounds called urolithins, which have shown remarkable anti-inflammatory and potential anti-cancer effects in research. That alone is extraordinary, but it goes further. Clinical studies have shown that pomegranate juice may help reduce blood pressure, lower LDL oxidation, and support healthier arteries. And when researchers compare its antioxidant strength, pomegranate often ranks above red wine, green tea, and blueberries, 3 of the most famous antioxidant-rich foods in the modern world. But here is the part most people miss. The rind, the very part almost everyone throws away, maybe even more concentrated in medicinal compounds than the juice itself. For generations, traditional healers across the Middle East used pomegranate rind tea for diarrhea, intestinal parasites, and inflammatory gut conditions. So this is not just a fruit. It is a system. Eat the seeds fresh, drink fresh pressed juice, and even the dried rind, steeped as a tea, has been valued for digestive support. The whole fruit, not just an isolated supplement, delivers a full spectrum of compounds, the way the body was designed to receive them. 5. Figs, the medicinal fruit of prophets. Here is a detail most people completely miss. When King Hezekiah was dying from a deadly infection, a severe skin ulcer, the prophet Isaiah did not only pray over him, he gave an instruction: apply a poultice of figs directly to the wound. And Hezekiah recovered. Think about that. An ancient prophet prescribing a fruit as medicine. And now, modern science is beginning to understand why that may have worked. Figs contain phycin, a proteolytic enzyme that helps break down dead tissue and support wound healing. They also contain compounds with documented antimicrobial properties. And fresh fig latex has shown in studies the ability to inhibit bacterial growth and support skin repair. But figs are not only about wounds. They are also remarkably powerful for the inside of the body. Figs are rich in soluble fiber, especially pectin, which helps feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut, and they contain magnesium, potassium, calcium, and B vitamins in levels that make them one of the most mineral-dense fruits you can eat. In a world without multivitamins, figs were the supplement. And they worked. Fresh figs at peak ripeness for gut health and natural energy. Dried figs for sustained nourishment all year round. And that ancient practice of applying mashed fresh figs to inflamed skin may deserve far more modern attention than it has received. 6. Hyssop, the purification herb with real power. Here we are, number 6, the one I promised you at the beginning. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Hyssop appears in the purification rituals of Leviticus. It appears again at the crucifixion, where a sponge soaked in liquid is lifted to Jesus on a hyssop branch. For centuries, many people treated this as purely symbolic, ceremonial, spiritual. But then researchers began looking closer. They started analyzing hyssop at the chemical level, and what they found stopped them. Hyssop contains carvacrol and thymol, the same powerful compounds found in oregano and thyme. two of the most potent natural antiseptic herbs ever identified. Modern studies suggest that hyssop has real antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal activity. It has shown potential against the herpes simplex virus. Its expectorant compounds help loosen and clear mucus from the lungs. And its anti-inflammatory effects help explain why it was traditionally used for respiratory infections and wound treatment. When you understand that, the purification rituals suddenly begin to make remarkable sense. Because if hyssop was being used to cleanse surfaces, to sprinkle on people after disease, or to dress wounds, then it was not only symbolic, it was functional, it was active, it was practical. What looks like ceremony may also have been a form of infection control, thousands of years before germ theory. Hyssop tea for coughs, bronchial discomfort, and respiratory support. Tincture as a traditional topical antiseptic. Fresh hyssop, used in cooking as an aromatic herb similar to thyme. This little plant was doing real work in the ancient world, and most people have never heard of it. That changes today. 7. Carob, the wilderness survival food. And here we are. Number 7, the one I saved for last, because this may be the most extraordinary story on this entire list. His food was locusts and wild honey. For centuries, biblical scholars have debated what locusts means in this passage, and many, especially those familiar with the landscape of the Judean wilderness, believe it may refer not to insects, but to the pods of the carob tree, known across the ancient Middle East as locust beans or St. John's bread, and that changes everything. Because the carob tree grows wild throughout the exact region where John ministered. Its sweet, bean-like pods have sustained desert travelers for thousands of years, and when combined with wild honey, you get something remarkable. A survival food, a wilderness food, a diet of astonishing nutritional strength. Carob pods contain roughly 50% natural sugars. But unlike refined sugar, those sugars come wrapped in fiber. A lot of it, up to 40% dietary fiber by dry weight. They also provide calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium. They are naturally gluten-free. They contain no caffeine and no oxalates, which makes carob a safer option for people who cannot tolerate chocolate. But here is what makes carob truly extraordinary. Its condensed tannins have documented antimicrobial and antidiarrheal effects. Studies have shown that carob powder can help fight rotavirus and other gut pathogens, especially in children. In fact, before pharmaceutical alternatives became standard, carob was used in European hospitals for childhood diarrhea. Think about that, a wilderness food used in hospitals. Carob and wild honey together provided almost everything that kind of harsh environment required. Natural sugars for energy, fiber for gut health, minerals for endurance, and antimicrobial compounds for protection against infection. So if John the Baptist was truly living on carob and wild honey in the Judean wilderness, he was not merely surviving, he was thriving. He was eating two of the most powerful foods in the ancient world, while people inside civilization feasted on elaborate meals and slowly grew weak. Sometimes, the wilderness diet is the wise diet, and sometimes, the food the world forgets is the food most worth remembering. 7 foods, thousands of years of accumulated wisdom, centuries of observational knowledge that we nearly threw away in our rush to replace everything natural with something manufactured, something patented, something that could be sold in a bottle. And here is what I want you to carry with you after today. The people who wrote these ancient texts were not primitive. They were not guessing. They were observant, extraordinarily, carefully, generationally observant. They paid attention to what healed them. They paid attention to what sustained them. And they built their culture, their rituals, their agriculture, and even their theology around those observations. And now, modern science, with its clinical trials, its double-blind studies, and its biochemical analysis, keeps arriving at the very same destinations. Olive oil reduces inflammation, honey kills bacteria, garlic fights infection, pomegranates protect the heart, figs support wound healing, hyssop helps disinfect, carob sustains life in the wilderness. The book was right. It simply did not explain the mechanism, because the mechanism was not the point. The food was the point. The healing was the point. The people were the point. Before I let you go, I need to make sure you have a real path forward, because information without action is just entertainment. And here is the single most important thing I can tell you from everything we covered today. Quality matters enormously. The difference between medically active raw honey and that bear-shaped bottle at the grocery store is not a small difference. It is the difference between food that heals and food that merely tastes similar. The same is true with olive oil. The same is true with every single item on this list. The version matters just as much as the food itself. So, in the description below, I have linked the specific brands and sources I personally trust for the highest quality versions of everything we discussed today. And if this video has lit a fire in you to start growing some of these yourself, I have also linked the heirloom seed companies I recommend. Now, drop a comment below and tell me, which food surprised you most? Are you team medicinal herbs, team ancient superfoods, or team healing fruits? I read every single comment, everyone. And if you are not yet subscribed to Homestead Roots, hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell, because we post every single week. Ancient wisdom, modern science, real food, real healing. And we are just getting started. See you in the next one.